Now, Nancy, you have cards in your hand, and tell me how you use those cards, and is there anything on there that means something to you?
Well, this is a card that we have that as Upper Cervical Advocates that we can give out to people that have things that some people have gotten relief from under upper cervical care. So this morning I just thought, well, I'm going to look under there and just see what I could find that I've been helped with. And over here it says, do you know someone who needs to get their head on straight? You know, you've always said, well, you need your head on straight. Well, that's a true statement because people with upper cervical subluxations need to get their head on straight. And many times this is from when they were in their mother's womb. And I was looking at my birth certificate the other day, and my mother was in the hospital 37 and a half hours before I was born. She was 37 years old when I was born. So I could have been even farther back than 5 years old, injured in the womb. I was looking under men, and I know I'm a woman, but it says you could be helped with arthritis. A doctor a long time ago said I had probably a little arthritis in my back, causing my arms and everything to hurt, you know, but never did anything, nothing helped it. And I worked in an office, and I could have had carpal tunnel with that night after I worked for 18 years at the school. And I have had a herniated disc, laser disc decompressed on one side. When I had that done, the other side was supposed to be in as bad a shape as that side, but I said, oh no, don't touch it. It doesn't hurt yet. And this is 13 years ago that's been done, and my other side is still going strong, but I've been under care. And I have had high blood pressure since I was in my early 30s, or late 20s probably. But I am now off of blood pressure pills. I have had ringing in my ears, but I don't have ringing in my ears. I noticed this morning, well, Nancy, you don't have that ringing in your ears, and I think that's because my blood pressure is lowered too, and I don't have the ringing in my ears. And I suffered from depression since 1976. I was to the point of suicide, and they took me to the hospital, and the doctor says, well, you're depressed. I came back home, and my boss says, he's crazy. He says, Nancy, you're not depressed. He didn't know what he's talking about. But anyway, and I was under care till 1996 with that doctor. And he said the last time, still don't know what your problem is. But he's the one that advised me several years ago, don't let anyone touch your neck. Well, I should have not listened maybe to that. And I also had been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and I no longer suffer from that. And when I was taking care of my in-laws from 1995 to 1990 to 1996, after every meal I had to run to the bathroom. That may have been a nerve problem, but I feel like maybe if I'd have been under upper cervical care, that would have been helped. And I also had sometimes my legs would hurt, but I never had restless leg. Hadn't been all. But I was always made good grades. Every class that I graduated from, I was valedictorian in my class. But I was one of those that if I didn't study, like some of the kids in classes, if they'd come to class, hadn't opened their books, so they said. But, you know, they could pass. But if I was one of those, I studied and made A's, where if I hadn't studied, I would have made zilch. So my son and I have often kidded each other that we probably have ADHD, you know, a little bit. But no doctor, that's just sort of a family joke, but it sort of might be a reality because I didn't trust not to take my books on the school bus to ball games and stuff if we had a test the next day. And as a child, I had ear infections, and the medication one medication that the doctor gave me for epileptic seizures for depression is also one they give with people for epileptic seizures. And I don't know. And on this, that's about all I see on there that I have overcome. But that many things from men, women, and children, that if we had caught sooner, I wouldn't have had my appendix out, my gallbladder out, my uterus removed, my ovary removed, my tubes tied after they removed my uterus, and then after so many years, I had a 6-pound multilocular ovarian cyst removed, and I have had a biopsy on a breast lump. So I just wonder how many of those things, had I been under upper cervical care and everything been getting the energy from my neck that God intended for me to have from birth, would I have had? My older sister is 13 years older than me. She has had none of those things. My sister, that is just 5 years older, 5 years older than me, has had less of them than I have, but she's had some of the same things. So a lot of things that run in families, maybe they need to be an adjustment and get their head on straight.
Thank you, Miss Nancy.